In the quiet town of Hemlock, a chilling event shatters the silence. A young girl, known to all as Emily, found lifeless in her room. The circumstances surrounding Emily's death were as eerie as they were inexplicable. No tear-stained letters, no whispered goodbyes. Her departure was as silent as the night itself. Yet the peculiarities didn't end there. Her desk, once a canvas for doodles and dreams, was now marred by strange symbols, etched deep into the wood. Symbols that seemed to whisper of a sorrow too profound for words. And then there was her room. Once a sanctuary of laughter and light, it had become a chilling mausoleum. The air hung heavy with a coldness that bit into your soul, a temperature drop that defied all logic, a coldness that seemed to echo Emily's despair. But who could have known that this was only the beginning of Emily's story? To understand the present, we must venture into the past, into Emily's past. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Emily, bright-eyed and full of life. She was a dreamer, a lover of the arts, and had a heart as vast as the ocean. Then came along Jack, a charming lad with a smile that could light up the darkest corners of the world. Their paths intertwined, and a love story began to unfold. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole. Their love was the kind that poets write about, the kind that artists try to capture on canvas. They shared laughter, tears, dreams, and fears. They created a world of their own, a haven where only happiness was allowed entry. However, as the seasons changed, so did Jack. He began to drift away, his eyes found another, and his heart followed suit. Emily was left standing in their world, alone, with a love that had turned into a haunting echo. The heartbreak was immense, a chasm that kept growing with each passing day. Emily's world, once filled with vibrant colors, was now a black and white canvas of despair. She spiraled into a pit of depression, her laughter turned into silent sobs, her dreams morphed into nightmares. She reached out, her cries for help echoing in the silence. Yet they fell on deaf ears. She was a prisoner of her own sorrow, trapped in a labyrinth of pain and loneliness. Her heart yearned for the love that was no more. Her soul ached for the happiness that had slipped away. Her isolation became her only companion, her tears the only conversation. The world moved on, oblivious to her suffering. Emily, a beautiful spirit, was now a shadow of her former self, a spectre in a world that had forgotten her. And so, Emily, with her heart shattered, chose to end her pain. Little did she know, her story was far from over. As days turned into weeks, strange happenings began to occur around Hemlock. The once tranquil town was now a hub of inexplicable occurrences, particularly around those who knew Emily and Jack. Whispers of the eerie events soon turned into loud conversations as the townsfolk began to connect the dots. Imagine walking home on a chilly evening, only to be met by a sudden gust of wind, carrying with it an almost inaudible whisper. Or finding objects mysteriously moved, lights flickering without reason, and the persistent feeling of being watched. The townsfolk had begun to live in a state of constant unease and fear. The sightings of a ghostly figure became a regular occurrence, especially around Jack's residence. A pale, almost translucent apparition, bearing a striking resemblance to Emily, was reported by more than a few. The figure seemed to be everywhere, yet nowhere at the same time. Then came the unexplained phenomena. The chilling laughter that echoed through empty corridors, the sudden drop of temperature in certain rooms, and the inexplicable scratches appearing on Jack's arms. It was as if Emily was making her presence known, marking her territory in the world of the living. The once vibrant Emily was now a spectre, a shadow of her former self, driven by a thirst for vengeance. She was no longer the girl who laughed freely, loved deeply, and lived fully. Instead, she was now a vengeful spirit haunting those who had wronged her. But the question remains, what will Emily's ghost do next? As we ponder, the chilling possibilities unfold. Will she seek vengeance on Jack, the architect of her despair, or does she harbor another darker scheme in the spectral recesses of her haunted heart? The air is thick with dread, the silence pregnant with anticipation. As the town of Hemlock trembles in fear, only time will reveal what Emily has in store. Until then, we can only wait and wonder.